Welcome to Hero Villains. Thank you for always watching and supporting the channel. What do you think, Hercule bro Sentry? When Greek gods face off against the almighty Superman, who will win? Practical Hercule, also known as Heracles in the original mythology, is portrayed by Marvel as the strongest being in existence in terms of pure physical strength. With innate divine strength, Hercule once lifted Manhattan Island alone, fought on par with the Hulk at his peak, and survived planet-destroying attacks. Sentry, whose real name is Robert Reynolds, is a different concept. After absorbing a million times the power of the Super-Soldier Serum, he became an entity possessing the power of a million exploding suns. Sentry can fly faster than light, regenerate almost instantly, control matter, energy, and even manipulate reality on a small scale. Before we delve into the analysis, please click the subscribe button, please remember to turn on notifications, and click the bell icon. Thank you very much. Heracles, the greatest hero of Greek mythology, the immortal mythological hero, carries the blood of the great Zeus. Hercules also demonstrated overwhelming power when pulling the entire island of Manhattan. Hercules is famous for his arm wrestling matches on par with the Hulk, a famous warrior in terms of physical strength, further proving that he is not inferior to any heavyweight opponent. Possessing skillful close combat skills honed through thousands of years of battle, Hercules not only fights hard but also knows how to fight smart, turning each move into the ultimate weapon. His fighting style is classic, wild yet effective, often costing reckless opponents dearly. However, his overconfidence sometimes leads Hercules into dangerous fights, as he prefers to fight head-on, using brute force to solve problems rather than seek out more sophisticated tactics. Hercules cannot fly, a limitation that makes it difficult for him to face agile enemies or those who attack from the air. In addition, reflexes against lightning strikes were not his forte, causing Hercules to sometimes suffer surprise attacks. The feat that made the entire divine world respect was Heracles breaking the adamantine chains that bound Prometheus. These were no ordinary chains, but the most durable objects, forged by the will of the gods. Even Zeus, with his destructive thunder power, was powerless against them. Heracles even carried the sky on his shoulders, while Atlas, the mighty Titan, went to fetch the golden apples from Hera's sacred forest. Just supporting the endless sky was a feat beyond the limits of the divine. But Heracles still stood firm like a towering mountain challenging the universe. Although Zeus was revered as the supreme god with the power to control thunder, Heracles' shocking feats showed that he was not only equal to, but somewhat superior to his father, and is easily known as one of the most formidable armed and unarmed warriors in the Marvel universe, with only a few people who can match his raw skill and strength, such as Thor or Gilgamesh. Hercules not only faces the challenges set by fate, but also has to fight the most powerful and vicious enemies in mythology. Among them, Ares, the cold and ruthless god of war, is one of the most familiar and dangerous opponents. Although they were cousins, Hercules and Ares hated each other deeply, and their confrontations were no different from the life and death battles between two mortal enemies. Every time they swung their swords or hammered, they seemed to want to crush each other. Hades, the dark lord of the underworld, always secretly set traps to harm Hercules. With the patience and cruelty of a god who ruled over death, Hades constantly plotted and schemed, hoping to drag Hercules down to the bottom of the abyss with no way out. Those dark plots made Hercules not only fight with strength, but also with intelligence to survive. Hercules also faced countless hideous mythical monsters, from the multi-headed Hydra with the terrifying ability to regenerate, to Cerberus, the three-headed dog guarding hell, and the powerful giants. Each enemy was like a towering mountain of hatred blocking his way. However, with unwavering courage, Hercules overcame them all, carving his name into history as an immortal warrior. Sentry, also known as Robert Reynolds, is a superhuman being born from the absorption of a mysterious magic, granting him the terrifying power of a million exploding suns. More than just strong, Sentry is the epitome of absolute power. In his prime, he can rival and even overwhelm the Hulk. Even in his infamous world-breaker state, Sentry possesses the ability to fly at the speed of light, and his speed and strength reach cosmic levels, dwarfing any opponent. Sentry's regenerative system is near perfect, allowing him to regenerate almost instantly from attacks that others would not survive. His punches are like lightning, and the energy that flows from his body is terrifying. However, beneath his flashy exterior lies a fragile mind. Deep within, the Void dwells, a dark, destructive entity ready to rise and turn the Sentry into a threat more terrifying than any opponent he has ever faced. This is his greatest weakness, as his mental instability can be exploited, turning him from a protector into an ultimate nightmare. In every battle, Sentry is always a dangerous gamble that no one dares to take lightly. Sentry's ability to overcome the most powerful opponents, including superheroes like Thor or Superman, has confirmed his position in the ranks of invincible warriors. Sentry's most notable display of strength was his easy defeat of Beta Ray Bill, and Ada Ray Bill proved his strength when he defeated Thor in a tense match. Not only was Beta Ray Bill a tough opponent, he also took Mjolnir from Thor, a remarkable feat. After losing the hammer, Thor was no longer the Thor he once knew, but instead Donald Blake, a mortal, weak, and without divine powers. However, when facing Sentry, Beta Ray Bill was unable to maintain his dominance. Sentry's strength is far beyond anyone's limits, and when he rushes into battle, his devastating power leaves every opponent with an unstoppable blow. Sentry, with his immortality and limitless energy, is not easily defeated, and Thor easily makes it into the top 5 most powerful superheroes in Marvel. Superman whipped through the negative field with his bare hands, and his strength never ceases to amaze. He has easily torn apart the Void, overcoming all limits of space and time to defeat formidable opponents such as Doctor Strange and Loki, 2 legendary figures of magic. Both, despite being masters of magic, are no match for Sentry's pure power. Facing a reality-bending being like the Inventwiener or even the stalemate of Galactus and Eternity, Sentry not only does not flinch but also destroys these creatures with cold determination. One of Sentry's most incredible feats is that he can destroy an entire planet with a single thought. In the Marvel Universe, destroying a planet is no easy feat. The creatures who can do it are rare and often extremely powerful. Sentry, with his incredible strength and limitless destructive power, has no shortage of formidable enemies. His most dangerous opponent is himself. The Void, of dark entity born from the ghosts in Sentry's mind, is an unpredictable threat. The Hulk at times has also been a difficult opponent for Sentry. While Sentry's strength can match or surpass the Hulk's rage and immeasurable strength pose a different threat. Battles between Sentry and Hulk are always tense and unpredictable, and Norman Osborn and the Dark Avengers pose another danger, as Osborn attempts to manipulate and control Sentry, turning him into a tool for his own ends. For someone as mentally unstable as Sentry, being used can lead to unforeseen consequences. Thanos, in some timelines, has also faced Sentry on several occasions, as he sees Sentry as a potential threat to his plans. Thanos' combination of intelligence and power makes any confrontation between him and Sentry extremely dangerous. However, Sentry, with its unlimited destructive power, was able to do this without any hindrance. Subscribe to the channel, it will help us a lot, and moreover, you will get to watch great videos every day. You are the best, thank you very much. When Void, the dark entity in Sentry's mind, once again took control, a terrible disaster occurred. In a moment of loss of control, he accidentally destroyed a portal connecting the dimensions. The consequence of this action was not only a terrible mistake, but also caused Mount Olympus, the place where the gods lived, to be partially torn apart. This was an unforgivable insult to the gods, especially Hercules, the mighty son of Zeus. Hercules, who always protected the honor of the gods in the mythical world, considered this a serious insult and vowed to punish the one who destroyed this sacred place. Faced with Hercules' fury, Sentry, struggling with his inner battle between heroism and the Void's madness, felt helpless and guilty. He did not want to be a destroyer, but the Void would not allow him to be his master. The confrontation between Sentry and Hercules began to explode. Hercules, furious, charged at Sentry, swinging his adamantine mace. The attack was a blow combining the strength of a god and the majesty of a war god. As the adamantine hammer cut through the air, it was like a thunderbolt tearing through the sky, carrying with it a power that could crush any opponent. Sentry, despite having a portion of his mind taken over by the Void, used his bare hands to block the blow, and a horrifying scene unfolded as the adamantine hammer collided with his hand. Each impact caused the surrounding space to crack as if the universe was being torn apart. But the shockwaves from the collision caused terrible tremors and the entire sky seemed to be swept away by a storm. Although Sentry was able to block the blow, Hercules' strength still forced him to endure. Hercules' punches could shake the entire space, but Sentry, with his unimaginable strength, did not retreat. Hercules, with his vast combat experience, immediately switched to the tactics of a calculating warrior. Instead of going in for a direct confrontation, he aimed for Sentry's weak points, attacking his opponent's joints and vulnerable areas. These precise and sharp strikes forced Sentry to retreat in the first moments, each blow causing him to stagger. However, the more they fought, the more dangerous Sentry became. Hercules' attacks could not slow him down for long. Sentry's power was not something that could be easily restrained, and when pushed to his limits, he began to lose control. His punches were no longer simply counterattacks, but devastating blows. Each time Sentry struck, his power seemed to increase exponentially, and the air around him seemed to shake with the storm of blows. Hercules had warned him of this, that Sentry, if left unchecked, would become an unstoppable threat. The Void's immense power began to warp reality around him, creating shadow clones of Hercules, ghosts that relentlessly attacked, harassed, and distracted his opponents. These figures were not mere illusions, but possessed a dark power, forcing Hercules to deal with countless enemies at once. Hercules, with the extraordinary endurance of a demigod, did not back down. Each illusion he destroyed was ruthlessly erased, but that could not stop the Void. Hercules' fight became a constant battle, where he had to cut down each ghost, but could not stop the Void's evolution in the Sentry's mind. Although Hercules' godly power allowed him to destroy the shadow clones, it could not patch up the psychological holes that the Void was deeply exploiting. In a terrible moment, the Void exploded with unimaginable power. That power not only defeated Hercules, but also threw him away like a small stone swept by a storm. Sentry, in a state of almost no control, won with an extremely high probability. Although he was not completely in control of himself, the power of Void decided the outcome of the battle, defeating Hercules beyond redemption. Sentry was the winner. I hope you enjoyed this fight. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Follow me if you like. That's it for today's video. Thank you very much.